And it's yet another incident of provocation by China. Defense Ministry sources have told Times Now that the People's Liberation Army attempted to demolish a 250 feet wall built 250 meters in Indian territory in the Yangtze area of Tawang. We try and go across to Srinjoy Chaudhary, who joins us on the phone with more details. Yes, Srinjoy.
Yes, this is another case of provocation, as you rightly said. What really happened was that this PLA patrol entered Indian territory, or the Indian side of the line of actual control. And the Indian troops had built a 200 feet wall there of loose stones. And this was 250 meters inside Indian territory, inside the line of control. And when they tried to demolish it, the Indian troops protested and prevented it. But it was partially damaged. And as a result of it later had to be reconstructed. The point that has been made by the ministry sources, and this comes officially from the Defense Ministry, is that a strong protest has been lodged by the Chinese, by the Indian side against China. And this happened during the flag meeting that was held by the local commanders right after the demolition took place. This happened some time ago, earlier in the year, but this is something which has been seen as a very serious provocation.
Srinjoy, just stay with us on the phone. We are also joined by on the phone by our strategic affairs expert, Maruf Raza. Maruf, now this is something that China has been doing for quite some time. Isn't it high time that the Indian government launched a stronger protest?
Well, all India can do essentially is to protest. There are a few things which we must put into context. As far as China is concerned, it doesn't regard Arunachal or lots of the other disputed parts of our border as Indian territory, and that's the reason why it continues to keep it disputed. India has failed to leverage whatever strength India could have vis-a-vis China and extract more mileage out of them in trying to address the border issues. We must remember that the border talks have been on for years, and we have not been able to convince the Chinese also to as yet accept all the maps of the borders, leave aside except the boundary line that we call as ours, and as Srinjoy just brought out, in Indian part of the territory. And Tawang, more specifically, there are two issues related with Tawang. One is that the Chinese continue to flout a document to India which apparently was signed by His Excellency the Dalai Lama when he was still in Lhasa, which apparently indicates that Tawang was part of the so-called Tibetan territory, which is now totally annexed by China, and therefore they regard Tawang as their own. And the second is, of late, the Dalai Lama's proactive stance on various Tibetan gatherings have got the Chinese goat. And as you can see that the Chinese have even called off the recent talks. We are going to have the next round of talks. But, it's about time New Delhi put its foot down that, we either talk and move forward or there's no point in talking. Remember, China is under a lot of pressure internationally from all forums, more recently even by a three-party triangle group of US, India and Japan, which is also pressuring China.
Right.
So China is going to behave aggressively, but that doesn't mean we're going to go in for a conflict.